Well, I just say, open up your phone, there's this many contacts, and even if you only had, let's say, 50 contacts in your phone, those are 50 people that they all know somebody.
If you think it's going to be a problem, it will be a problem. If you think it's an opportunity, it will be an opportunity.
Yeah. Real estate in general is very simple. Just follow up with your clients.
I used to chase the ROI all the time, return on investment. And over the course of time, that has evolved into what I call return on life. Welcome here, everyone. I am Randy Dyck, and this is the Return on Life podcast. As I've shared so many times, it's not about the ROI, it's about the ROL, the return on life. And we have an amazing guest today that's going to share a bit about his life and his journey. And we're going to understand what return on life means to Adam Lloyd. Adam started his sales career in retail, selling TVs of all things. And he's got some great stories about that. Then went on to become one of the top agents in Vancouver, Western Canada, and Canada with RE/MAX. And then said, there's something bigger. And he started his own brokerage called Stonehaus Realty with his partner, Sean Zuber. So we've got an incredible podcast coming up here. Sean, welcome here.
Adam.
I'm sorry, Adam.
You're thinking of my partner.
Yes, Adam. Oh.
No, it's good.
Well, welcome here, Adam.
Yep. No, thanks. That's
awesome.
Good.
So you've had quite a journey. If I understand correctly, you were born in Edmonton, moved to Saskatoon, then found your way to BC and said, I'm never leaving God's country. Is that right?
You know, when you get here, it's beautiful, right? Got here, what was it, 1989. Man, I was still in, I was grade 10. Time flies. And, you know, I'd never been in a big city. The biggest city is Saskatoon at that time was probably 125,000 people, right? And you can make it across the city in like 20 minutes. When you're you know, in Vancouver, it was
We've
just
got
like, wow.
Is it Circle Drive? Is that what it is?
Circle
Around
Drive, that's
Saskatoon,
it. Yeah. So, I can't imagine what it is now, but, you know, I would definitely no going back.
So anyways, you came here and then you started working at the Future Shop.
Yeah.
And you were there almost a decade, is that right?
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, at least 10 years. So, you know, Future Shop was great for my sales growth because they had a great training program for a lot of the people that went through it. When you first joined Future Shop, they would teach you like sales from beginning to end. They would, you know, tell you what books to read. I still remember it today, you know, How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. You know, I don't know if you've read that book, but
I have.
You know, a great book for the basics on how to, you know, kind of, you know, understand the process of selling and how to close people, right? And back then I knew nothing about sales other than, you know, the mentors and stuff like that I had there. So, and I was lucky enough to have some really good mentors who helped me through, you know, my career at that point. It was good.
Yeah. You know, I'm not sure if you know this, but I also started in retail and in the sporting goods.
Okay, yeah.
And sporting goods and, you know, appliances or technology, electronics, it's kind of a technical sale. It's just, no, it looks good on you. No, you have to like really understand the product to do a good job at making that sale. And so I think it was just great learning ground for me to do what I do today. So I'm sure you.
No, we used to call them P1, P2, P3s. So P3s were like the ones that were no commission. You didn't want to sell them.
Okay.
So you're like, hey man, that's a P3. We use it as a bit of a joke with my old buddies from Future Shop days. So if we didn't like something, we call it a P3. It's like, that's no good. So,
oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And then, you know, as I kind of grew and won all these awards at Future Shop, I just wanted something more. You know, you kind of get to that point where, you know, for myself, you know, no matter where I am or what I'm doing, you know, I'm always looking for something, how to grow myself, right? And at that time, they had changed the rules in real estate. So, I mean, back then, you could only become a realtor. You couldn't have another job.
That's right.
I think it was 2002 or something like that.
It was, 2001, 2002.
Yeah, where it changed. And that gave me the opportunity to get into it, because at that time I really didn't have any money. Everybody said real estate was something where you had to have a lot of money. If you didn't, you'd fail at.
Right.
So I wanted to get in. It was kind of like, so a good buddy of mine from Campbell River, a place I grew up at, and he came into Future Shop, and he was like getting his real estate exam, doing his real estate exam, getting his real estate course and stuff like that. And I was like, oh man, maybe I should do that, right? Because a lot of my customers were realtors, and some of them were very successful, making good money. So I'm like, if they can do this, I can do this. So I just bought the books one day, and then boom, off I went. Didn't take long. I mean, from there, I was probably only at Future Shop maybe a few months before I transitioned full-time into real estate.
Wow. And it sounds like the catalyst was that you could be an employee at Future Shop and be a real estate agent. That kind of like said, oh, well, I've got the safety net here, but I can now hone my skill as being an agent as well and see how that goes.
And that was it. It was a bit of that comfort, making sure that I could still pay the bills and the mortgage at the time, because I just bought a house. So I needed to make sure that I could pay for that.
Right. So knowing what you know today, so here we are 20 years later, you've opened up your own brokerage. You have 350 agents in, is it 4 or 5 locations?
Yeah, 4 locations, yeah.
4 locations. What do you think of that rule today? Would you think it would be a better industry if you only could be an agent? Or do you think we're a better industry because you can work another job and be a real estate agent?
Well, unfortunately, I would say probably that has probably hindered the industry a little bit, because you have agents coming here that are doing it part-time and not giving it their full attention.
Right.
And some don't care, right? They're just there to do it for maybe a deal or two. When I did it, my focus was to become a full-time agent and make this my career. But if that's not your focus, then sometimes it hurts the industry a little bit when you have part-time agents in here or in our industry, and they're not really focused on making the industry better. They just are looking at a paycheck.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Well, but yet it's a double-edged sword. Without that option, you wouldn't have been an agent, and you wouldn't be able to serve all these people that you've done today. So that was the springboard. So it's kind of, you like it, but you don't like it. And I was on the other side. I was already licensed since 1992, and I remember that rule coming in. I thought, oh man, because it really meant something. You had to go all in. I mean, all in when you had no other option. It's
good for the boards, probably, for the brokerage owners, as well. We have some really, really great part-time realtors. You wouldn't know, right? And sometimes they're just transitioning from their previous job to their new job so they can be full-time into real estate. And sometimes with the markets you have, I mean, no matter what, you have to pay the bills. And the last couple of years, I've seen many agents either get out of the business or get a part-time job because they couldn't afford, if real estate's not being sold, especially when it's down 50, 60%, right? So then you're like, well, what do you do, right? Agents who have established, like us, have been in the business a long time, we have a nest egg, we have repeat business, we don't have to worry about that, right? But if you're just getting started in this business and you're in a down market, you might be out of the market.
Yes, very, very quickly. Now, you guys are very innovative at Stonehaus. I've watched from a distance and I've admired what you've done. And one of the things that I think is a pillar, at least tell me if it isn't or isn't, but one of the pillars I believe you do is that you really want to level up or train up your agents. And I remember way back already, you're with a Cardone system. Now you've moved on to, I think it's Mike Ferry. How important is that for the agent? The part-time agent, the full-time agent, how important is training, coaching, and what you're doing to level them up?
Yeah, it's super important. For us, it's training and mentorship. And if you have those two things, I believe you can be very successful in this business. But unfortunately, they're not readily available out there just at every brokerage, right? Agents are I guess, coming into this industry here, and they're at brokerages where they just don't get any training, and then they're out there doing their first deal, and it's sometimes a big disaster.
Yes. Well, and I'm going to say this, I've seen this in many brokerages, that the training that is being done is training to keep you out of real estate jail, but not to help you be a productive agent.
Yeah.
And without being productive, you can never go to jail anyways, but because you got to write deals to make mistakes. But that's, again, what I think is so really special about what you do at Stonehaus. You've got awesome real estate training, not how to, write a contract. I mean, you do that too, but more importantly, you emphasize how to be a productive agent.
Yeah. There's so many aspects of becoming a good agent these days. It's like, when we worked at Future Shop or any retail business, you as a salesperson have to be there to close the business. The marketing and advertising and all the other stuff is done by the company. But when you get into real estate, well, that all has to be done by yourself, right? Yeah. You have to create the marketing and the advertising so that the business comes to you. And a lot of the agents don't know how to do that. So, we're teaching them from the ground up on how to build a proper business, and, with the first steps you should be getting is a CRM, and how to work your CRM, and how to do a lead generation, and all this kind of stuff. So, and it just kind of produces better agents. And when agents do deals right away versus 6 or 8 months or a year down the road, if you can do a deal in the first 90 days, your chances of success are going to be a lot higher. So
absolutely, yeah. Discouragement happens in a hurry if you're not doing deals.
Oh, yeah,
and
100%.
Self-doubt just takes over, and it really, really sabotages a lot of good agents if they can't get that deal in the first 60, 90 days.
It's funny. So one of my buyer's agents, he's my manager now on my team. He was with another real estate company before I met him for a year. Didn't do a single deal.
Wow.
And came onto my team, and now he's killing. He's making $500,000 a year.
Wow.
But yeah, it's one, it's kind of hard to believe that could even happen. Two, if you do see someone like that out there, they really have a drive or a passion for what they want to do, or I guess they just don't give up, and that's what you want in a realtor, right? I guess any business owner, anyways, right?
Yeah, so much of that I think is finding your why, your purpose, dealing with adversity, because adversity comes at us every day as an agent, and it can't define us. It can only build us. That's how we have to look at it. So how do we rise from adversity? And there's one example of somebody rising from 1 year of adversity and just, I'm sure, self-doubt. And
I couldn't imagine it.
I can't imagine it.
When I got in the business, I don't remember. When I got in the business, I started doing deals right away.
Yes.
My sphere of influence at Future Shop started to buy from me, friends and family. I started kind of marketing in my neighborhood, and it just kind of took off, right?
Yeah.
So if I had to go a year without a deal, like, holy shit, what would I do, eh?
So this individual, obviously, he's now crushing it. There was a gift. There was a gift there that, for whatever reason, was hidden, not exposed, wasn't being utilized. Mm-hmm. What was the gift? What do you think the gift was that you brought out of him? Because it takes leadership. It takes leaders to bring out mentors, coaches to bring things out of people. So what was it?
And I guess going back to, big thing is training is important. I think a lot of people have training too, but I think mentorship is huge. Sometimes you got to see somebody do it. And when he sees me making the calls or, doing my thing, then he kind of picks up on that too, talk the talk, walk the walk, and all of a sudden, monkey see, monkey do.
Yes.
So, and it's all of a sudden you start to pick these things up and maybe even as trainers too. Like, I'm not like someone that, even now I train all my agents and stuff like that, but where is it going to go with this? Like, training is so important, but
we see a lot of new agents come in and they just don't know where to start. What do I do? And they see an Adam, a Randy, or whoever just going out there and crushing it every day. Every day, new listing, a new buyer, a new this, a new that. What's the one thing, if you could just have them stop and do one process or one exercise in the first month to get up and running, what would that be? I've got a few ideas as well, but I'm just interested what you do at Stonehaus that's maybe having these new agents kind of catapult and get started.
Yeah, no. When you come to Stonehaus, a big thing is just doing our 90-day program. So it's being able to kind of like get all the basics in line from when you first, like that every realtor needs to have, right? Whether it's contracts, and then the other portion would be it's getting your website going and your lead generation and all that kind of stuff, right? So you go through this like 90-day, 60-day program at Stonehaus, and then you got your foundation set, so that way, you're ready to rock and roll.
Right on. And the database is probably one of the keys. So you've got a good solid database that you can now foster and work. And
I get a lot of agents that come to me and go, well, I don't have anybody. Well, I just say, open up your phone. There's this many contacts. And even if you only had, let's say, 50 contacts in your phone, those are 50 people that they all know somebody. Well, all you got to do is ask them to refer you 2 or 3 people. Now you've got 150, right? And then they will refer you people. And, eventually you'll grow your database, right? It just takes time.
Yeah. I interviewed Ben Oosterfeldt last week, a great coach. And he talked about the referral. He says, far too many of us chase the sale, but if you replace that with chase the referral, it comes across so much differently. People are much more open because they don't feel like they're going to be sold anything, and they just want to go and help you. So chasing the referral, and you just made a great point. I only have 50 people on my phone. Well, 50, and you just ask them, how can you introduce me to somebody that I should know? Turns into 150 in a matter of a couple weeks. And every day you should be adding somebody to your database. Every day you should be having a conversation with somebody new that you can add to your database. And before long, you had a database of 300, 400, 500 people. And of course, you section them off into A's, B's, C's, but...
The Buffini.
Yes, absolutely Buffini.
I follow him quite a bit. I like him.
Right on. Well, since we're talking about return on life, and Buffini speaks of this as well, how do you find return on life? How do you find a life that is about you and that you're getting back more than just putting out? Because we need something that comes back to us as well.
Return on life. We can easily get caught up just working 24/7 in this business. And I think it's super important to make sure that you put your family and your friends and everything first. But, if as we're all trying to grow our business, when I first got in this business, all I wanted to do was be busy. I just wanted to do a deal and this and that. But sometimes that starts to take over your life, and all of a sudden, all you're doing is working, right? And that's definitely not a good thing, right? So you have to be able to balance that stuff out. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect at it, because I'm a bit of a workaholic in general. I just love working. I don't feel, even though I'm working, maybe I had an 8-hour day, maybe I had a 12-hour day. A lot of times it doesn't feel like it. But, I think one of the keys is the stuff that you don't like to do, get somebody else to do it. So it tends to open up, time for yourself to be able to spend with your family and do the things that you like.
Right. And return on life doesn't mean, or balance of life doesn't mean that you have to be, out at the beach or doing something that's not work related. For a lot of us, working is like exciting. We love it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I get charged up, I get jacked up, the endorphins get going, and I can't not work. I love work, which is part of my return on life. But you said it best. Doing the things that don't fulfill me, doing the things that don't make me go, wow, I can't wait to do that. If I can eliminate those or have somebody else, delegate somebody else to do them, then I get so much more out of life. So it's really about structuring your entire day does the best for you, gives you the best version of you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Fear has been a powerful motivator for me at times. Fear of failure, fear of not succeeding, fear of not getting everything done.
I think it's for everybody.
Well, it can, but it can be either a friend, a foe. What is it to Adam? Do you?
What is fear?
Yeah. Do you embrace it? Do you like? I don't want it. Like, what does it do for you? Because I know it really is motivating me.
Yeah. What does fear do for me when I'm I think for me a lot of times if I'm scared of something, I'm kind of probably walking the other direction. Sometimes there's challenges out there. I hate failing at anything. So if I feel like I'm failing, I'm usually trying harder to correct it. I always think I can control everything, but I've come to realize that that's not the case. There's just certain things you can't control in life, and then you just kind of have to, well.
Wouldn't it be fun to control the market, turn the dial up when we want it hot, turn it down when we don't want to?
Yeah.
That big dial.
Yeah.
Don't you have a big dial in your office? Like, let's turn up the market?
Turn off the
Let's turn it down.
It's just one of those things you can just go boom.
We want to go on a holiday. Let's all turn it down a bit.
No, I don't have one of those. When I do, when the market changes, I just work harder. So.
Yeah. Ben, again, last week, he just gave some really good things. He says, look at fear as if it is something special because fear protects us. Fear makes us get a little bit more intense. Fear helps us see something that we may not be seeing and feel it. So there's a lot of good things that happen when we think of that word. And we often see it as a negative word, but I think there's a lot of positivity to that word.
Yeah, I mean, no one likes fear, but when you're presented with it, it usually means that you have to either make a decision, right? And that decision, a lot of times can be positive.
Yeah. Is there something that you live by daily, weekly, monthly that is really, important to you? It's the foundation of who you are. Is there something that you just, okay, this is my non-negotiable thing that I always do daily, weekly, monthly? I know it's a big question.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say I have something specific. I kind of like to do different things all the time.
Okay.
So I'm not really predictable a lot of times. So if you're going to bet on something that I'm going to be doing, I may not necessarily be doing that every time.
Okay.
That might be, it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing. And I use my team, especially my assistants, to keep me on track. And that way I'm rolling out the same stuff every time. But I like to keep it fresh and different and stuff like that. So otherwise it gets boring if you're just kind of, So routines are important too, don't get me wrong.
So your daily routine is not always consistent.
No.
Is that okay?
No.
So you don't wake up at the same time, you don't do the same routine throughout the first couple hours?
Everybody, you work out. I mean, the general stuff that, you get up in the morning, you have coffee, hang out with my daughter, and then start my day. So, I think those are just kind of things you probably just take for granted that you just do every day, right?
Yeah.
So family's super important. I got a 11-month-old, right?
Wow.
And another one on the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 11, I mean, life is just coming alive in your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And, all the things that they're seeing, doing, experiencing. Walking yet?
Yes, she's walking, getting better every day and stuff like that, starting to say some words. And, this age in their life, everything is so fresh and new to her. So every time she looks at something, it's like, oh my gosh, this is like the best. whether it's taking like some of the food sheets and stuff like that. She's just kind of like looking at it and inspecting it before she puts it in her mouth and stuff like that. So it's good.
It's cool. There's so much we can learn from our kids. And this is one of the greatest gifts I think we have is curiosity.
Yeah.
Yet, and your daughter at 11, I mean, the curiosity level is like on a 10 out of 10, like everything. What's this? What's that? Because there's just curiosity to the nines.
Yeah.
But as we age, we grow older, we tend to kind of push our curiosity aside.
Yeah.
So is your daughter teaching you anything about life?
Well, 100%. For myself, like for my daughter, what's she teaching me about life? I guess it's probably just another, I have two other kids too, 24 and 19.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you've got the full spectrum.
I'm doing it again for the second time. And, being able to kind of, do it again and maybe see some of the things that I personally made mistakes when I was raising my daughter before and my son. I can kind of redo it again.
Yeah.
It's kind of a second chance at life, and some of the mistakes I've made before, I get to correct and make better. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that would be a really cool perspective. I'm kind of doing that. I've got a grandson now.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting some of that, but my oldest is 33.
Okay,
and so, by the way, I've got a daughter and a son-in-law in real estate with me as well. So I've learned a few things from them. They're telling me, Dad, you don't know how to do this. Well, I've got 32 years of experience. Yeah, but you're old school. This is new school stuff.
This is the new school stuff, yeah. Real estate's
fun.
always changing. When I first got in, there's this guy named Mick McLennan. And, I'd go into his office and I'd see all these books and I'd be like, what are these books here? This was the MLS books. This is how we got real estate done back then.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell's this? And he kept them forever. Now it's just everything's through Paragon. It's all digitized. That's it, right? You just, and then now with the, here's some now with AI. AI is going to be a huge game changer in our industry. So
innovation's happening so quickly right now, so quickly. And of course, we've been using AI as well. I've been using it personally. I've got Sam in my pocket at all times, which is ChatGPT, but I've named him Sam. And talked to him. And just amazing. You've got Einstein in your pocket, essentially.
Yeah. So
how is AI being used at Stonehaus or in your business? Have you incorporated anything at this point?
Yeah, it makes everything more efficient, whether we're having to write letters or, I guess when you're definitely doing your MLS sheets and stuff like that, instead of taking 15, 20 minutes to do that, you're literally you're taking 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So just putting together, packages and rewriting our, welcome packages and stuff like that. You can do them through, AI. It makes it just much more efficient.
Absolutely. By the way, I've got an AI course that I'm dropping in a week.
Oh, okay.
And I should maybe let you have a look at it. Maybe it's worthy of Stonehaus to have a look at that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, of course, with trends, with innovation, there's some things happening in the world of real estate too, especially south of the border.
Oh, yeah.
There's the settlement with NAR and how that's changing the industry, where buyers are going to have to pay the buyer's agent moving forward, it looks like, because in the past they've been able to get, the buyer's agent's been paid through the listing side of the deal, and looks like it's all changing. How does that affect us here in Canada? Do you think it's going to affect us? Should we be already preparing for some changes?
Yeah, we definitely should be preparing. And is it going to affect us 100%? A lot of times real estate's always changing, like we say. And, probably one of the biggest changes that's going to come up is how we deal with buyers and sellers. Mm-hmm. And, as I grew up in, for the last forever, ever since I got into the industry, who pays my commission as a buyer's agent? Well, the seller does.
Yeah.
And well, that was just something that we, every agent taught every agent, and this is how we explained it, and this is how the system works. But the system is, I guess, broken, or maybe someone challenged it so that it has to be revamped. I can't believe, obviously they won a court ruling in the States, which is coming over to Canada now. Now our rules are a little bit different, but it's a good chance that they could win here too. And if that's the case, then they're just going to have to redo the way our contracts are and how we present or, perceive to the buyer and the seller how we work.
Right.
The seller doesn't pay our commission. It's going to have to be the buyer who pays our commission, and we're going to have to earn it from the buyer. So that's going to be a big change if that does come up. And I probably see something like that going on.
Yeah. I actually think it's a good thing. It's going to define very, very clearly who and how you get paid.
Yeah.
It's going to, I think, bring out more professionalism, especially on the buyer's side of things. And so buyers are going to go, well, I am now paying this agent specifically. They were before, but it was through the commissions of the seller. And so I think buyers will be more astute. They'll be researching and making sure that their buyer's agent is really worthy of being paid.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a better thing for the consumer. If it's better for the consumer, it's often better for everybody. The thing that I really want to make sure that I share today with our viewers is that if you think it's going to be a problem, it will be a problem. If you think it's an opportunity, it will be an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's all mindset.
Yeah.
It really is about mindset and taking leadership in it. And so I think there's a great opportunity if you just embrace it and then work with the system that we have. Speaking with working in the system, our government really, really likes real estate to the point where they're really involved. And I often think they're almost too involved. And they're involved because it's a money machine.
Oh, yeah.
It's a massive, massive money machine. For many of our listeners around North America, around the world, every state, every province, every country does it a little bit differently. But we're in the province of British Columbia. And the British Columbia GDP is massively padded by real estate and construction, which is what we're involved in. And I often think that they're just too involved and they make knee-jerk reactions. But are we over-regulated, do you think?
Regulation is important to a certain degree and stuff. Are we over-regulated? Give me an example of what you...
Well, for instance, we now have another tax that is regulating the industry in a certain way. We've got the flipping tax, the vacancy tax, the foreign buyer tax. Like, it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, to live in BC, it's expensive, and they need to come up with money somehow. And the best way to do that is obviously through the real estate. This anti-flipping tax probably going to help the builders more than anything, because the flippers won't be able to flip the homes to make a profit. So I feel that it'll give more opportunities just to tear the home down now. So that'll be a little bit unfortunate, but the people that have the money are always going to be the ones that purchase the home. And if there's no money in it for the flippers, then it's they'll tear it down and build a new house. The government they've always been, in Canada, they're always going to have their fingers in the pot, just because it's so lucrative. And I don't think that'll ever change. I think we just have to have workarounds. And for us, it's just about how to, make money in a system of where it is. This is our system, right? Yeah. So, you're going to have to find a way to make money in it. And it's always changing.
Well, we're leaders here.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about leadership.
Yeah.
What is on Adam's vision board? Or do you have a vision board? Do you have a vision board?
No, I don't have a vision board.
You have a mental vision board.
Oh yes, yeah.
What's on the digital mind vision board?
As I've been in real estate for a long time, I've seen the different changes and growth in real estate and stuff. Stonehaus is growing, maybe not as fast as I thought or as I wanted it to grow. But I've never given up on any type of challenge, and nor am I done with my vision and even how I want to see it grow now. A lot of it is about bringing the right team members into play as you kind of grow it, right? And as you have these right team members, it just starts to kind of give boosts as you kind of go. Because when we were first at 12 agents when we first started, and it went to 50, then 100, and then we went to 250. And during that course, even we have 350, I think we've probably hired 500 plus agents, right?
Yes.
Because agents come and go as
Attrition
you go through.
happens.
And that's just the industry, right? Either the agent that you've grown decides to go somewhere else and stuff. And my focus here, my vision is really to kind of, grow Stonehaus and see where it grows. I'm going to do that probably for the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to retire probably somewhere in Revelstoke, maybe. I don't know. About 320 acres up there. We'll see what happens.
Wow.
So
we're going to come back to that 320 acres. I like that in Revelstoke.
But as I guess leaders in our industry, and we kind of see all these changes and stuff happen, I think we have to guide our agents into what's happening, because really we may not know exactly what's going on, but we have the experience from the past and how we've gotten through our past to get to our future.
Right.
And we'll be able to show them that. We'll be able to guide them as to what's happening, what's going on. And I think there's with just all these changes that are happening with, Bill 44, and these things are opportunities that people don't know.
Right.
You're going to be right by a SkyTrain. Now it's going to be considered a high rise. Well, if you're here, most everything now is going to be duplex in BC if you're, on an arterial route. So these things are going to be really important. And are your agents taking advantage of those things too? And then, all the parts with AI and how to grow your business and new lead generation sources and all that kind of stuff. And they're always changing. So I always have my pulse on that kind of stuff. And I think that's going to be my role in growing Stonehaus is to make sure that the agents know about all these new technologies and everything that's coming on.
That's true leadership. When you can allow all your agents to leverage everything that you've experienced, done, you understand, you're going before them and bringing it back. That's what I call true leadership, because you're now allowing them to leverage everything out of you. And then they get to go on and create legacy in their own world because of what you've given them.
Yeah.
Experiences, knowledge, information. They go and then they can help others as well. That's true leadership. So I really admire that in you. That's awesome. That's awesome. With those thoughts, who's been influencing your life? Who's been some of your mentors, your coaches? Because, this is deep stuff.
Yeah. I've had some great people in my life. A lot of them are colleagues, friends, coaches that have helped me throughout the years. And, I tend to get my information not just from one source, but many. Right. And I kind of like pulling a little bit from here, pulling from here. And I'll always be like, hey, what do you think of this? Do you think this is a good idea? And then before I kind of start, making my assumptions or plans or whatever I tend to be doing. So, right now I get a lot of my inspiration from the coach that I have now. His name is Aaron Chua. So very, very good.
Why did you pick Aaron? Have you had other coaches before, and why did you land on Aaron?
You know what? Aaron was a good fit for all the stuff that we were doing. Mm-hmm. As a company, like Stonehaus is invested in some stuff out in India right now. We're doing tech. He was a really good fit for that. But in general, he's a good coach. as a person, just being able to help grow myself, which has been huge. So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, another one is my fiance. Always, your spouse, definitely good. My partner, always a great coach too. So
yeah, we need people around us to pull us, push us, prompt us to do things. So
I think you have to be self-motivated too, right? So but sometimes you need somebody to push you a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And those pushes are the ones that get you over the humps.
Has Aaron or anybody, your partner, have they brought up limitations? Have they said, "Come on, Adam. Come on, Lloyd. You're talking to..."
Sound like my buddy Skyler, he always calls me Lloyd.
Yeah.
Hey, Lloyd, what's going on? What's happening?
So has anybody said, you've gotta do this? Like, why are you holding yourself back? This is limiting your success. Has anybody just punched you right in the face with that?
I hate hearing those words. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, everybody gets into a rut, right? And when you're in a rut, then, sometimes you have good friends that'll come up to you and they're going to say those things to you.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, hey, like, what are you doing? Get your head out of your ass, right? Yeah. And, those are the things that kind of like help you push you over and I guess get you motivated and going. Yeah. Sometimes you need to reset yourself and get on a different track. Sometimes you're on this track here and it's not the track you should be on.
Yeah.
You should be over here, right? So, yeah.
Well, speaking of tracks, often, we're in this track or this rut and we go, how do we get out of this rut? How do we get out of this? Yet somebody sees our rut and they go, man, I wish I had Adam's rut.
Oh, yeah. You never know what somebody's going through in life, right? So you always got to kind of take a step back and say, do you really want to do what he's doing? You don't really know him. You just see him on TikTok and social media.
Exactly. Everybody wants to be a movie star until they're a movie star.
Yeah.
And then they're paparazzi'd to death and they have no life and they can't have any freedom because they're a movie star. Yeah. Yet everybody wants to be a movie star, or they want some sort of fame.
Oh yeah.
And once you've got the fame, you don't really want it anymore in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of finish this off with a few things here. Is there something that you've learned just in the last year that you go, Because we've been in a tough market. Market's changed. Have you learned a few things? I've learned a few things in the last year that, man, if I could back up time, I go, okay, I learned something in the last 12 months. I wish I would have done this 12 months ago. Is there something that you could share?
Yeah, with the market, when the market shifts and stuff, you really got to be, real estate in general is very simple. Just follow up with your clients, And I think that's probably the one thing too, that I think even, like myself, I'm not sure about yourself. It's like, sometimes you get busy with life and you're doing the things you like to do, but you're not doing the things that you should do.
Yeah.
And the things we should do is just making sure that, what's the most important thing is your database and your past clients and making sure you follow up with them. And, sometimes it's just a call to say, hey, how's the family, right? And if you don't make those calls, they're not going to use you when they decide to sell, because really at the end of the day, selling your home, you might not sell it for 40 years, but when they do decide to sell it, it's going to be, they're going to wonder if they should use you or, the new guy down the block who seems to be selling all the homes. So yeah, and you're gonna, you're gonna have to make sure that you're there.
It really comes down to how you've made them feel.
Mm-hmm.
What was the experience you gave them? How do they feel?
But that experience could have been 30 years ago.
True. And if you gave them such an amazing experience and they still feel it today, it doesn't matter that their son maybe is even in real estate today, or their daughter, they still might pull you in because you did such an amazing job and you made them feel so special. Now, probably doubt that it is going to be that if there's a daughter or son in the industry, but just to really play out that example. Yeah. I think you and Sean are original thinkers. And it's hard to be an original thinker. So many people just go with the status quo. This is the way it's always been done. And in 7 years, what you've done and created at Stonehaus, I think you're really original. You're really doing something different than all the other brokerages have been there for 50, 60 years. Right. Because it's easy just to follow the trend. Was that a challenge, or did you say, no, we want to be different, and you just laid out all the things that you wanted to do that was different?
We knew we could be different just because we knew what the industry was giving. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of know that we were experiencing it from just where we were, right? And we knew we wanted to grow, and what we needed to grow wasn't in the environment that we had. So that's one of the reasons why we had to make that change, right? Yeah. And, when we started putting the pieces in play where, okay, this is going to help us grow. If we have, a contract training class every Monday run by one of our top agents, we don't have to train our team members anymore, because I didn't want to do it all the time, right? So it's just like, okay, we have this in play now. So now somebody gets trained. But what about making sure they know how to sell? Oh, we brought in Grant Cardone, right? And then they knew how to, make sure that they knew how to sell. So, as we had these pieces kind of grow, it really kind of just helped us. And that's all of a sudden Stonehaus started to get the word like, hey, it has good training, it has good mentorship. Go to Stonehaus if you want to learn how to sell real estate. Mm-hmm. This is where we are here today, which is great, right? Wow. And the next stuff that's going to come is going to be interesting. We've got a few more things that are going to happen too over the next little bit as well.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you understand your purpose, your why. This is why you built Stonehaus, you and Sean. And I think you really help your agents understand that too. And once you understand your purpose and your why, everything seems to be a little bit easier. Which brings me to this book, Ignite Your Purpose, which I've written a piece in, and I've got a copy for you.
Awesome.
I think you'll really enjoy not only my piece, but many of the authors on purpose and why. So I'm going to give that to you. But let's finish off with a speed round.
Speed round.
Speed round. So a few questions here. So fine dining, takeout, Uber Eats, or a home-cooked meal?
Fine dining.
Fine dining.
I'm a foodie.
So you're a foodie. What's your favorite connoisseur, like cuisine? Are you, it doesn't matter, just gotta be good food.
I love steaks. So, a place that comes to mind in Toronto, me and my partner like to go there. It's called Jacob's. I've been there with some, like my best friends, my daughter, stuff like that. If I could go back there again, it's great. But, I've been to a lot of nice restaurants, even in Vancouver. I always like to hit them up.
Vancouver's got some great dining. Yeah, great dining. By the way, I was just in South Africa, and I was really, really in awe of the food in Cape Town and then Dubai. I mean, Dubai was over the top.
Other than it was 2 years ago, I went to Europe for the first time. I'd never been out of North America, so I have to get a little more well-traveled. It's one of my goals.
Awesome. So what do you do to let your hair down? What do you do on a day that you've got no business, you just want to go and chill out, chillax?
I will do the grouse grind. I love snowboarding. On my boat, hanging out. So
cool. That doesn't get any better. Grouse grind, hiking, snowboarding, and boating. Wow. Love that. Love that. Do you have a favorite band?
U2.
U2.
Yeah.
Did you see U2 in the Sphere in Vegas?
No, but I want to go big time. So.
It's an awesome experience. Text, work chat, talk, or telephone?
I'm really old school. Telephone. Just give me a call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What you can accomplish in a phone call.
Texting or emailing. Sometimes the message just gets so distorted, right? And it's like all of a sudden, it wasn't even the intention, but yeah.
Audible or book?
I love Audible. I've been doing a lot more Audible lately, so just kind of throw it on there, put the headphones on, and kind of zone out.
Podcasts or books?
Books, actually.
Books, okay. Awesome. A book that you'd like to recommend to our listeners? Anything that comes to your mind that you've read recently?
The one I'm doing now, it's If You're in My Office, It's Too Late.
If you're in my office, it's too late.
It's too late, yeah.
Interesting.
It's a relationship book. It's written by a divorce lawyer.
Okay.
It's an interesting one.
I like that. I like the title. Okay, last question, a bit of a trick question.
Sure.
If you were a scratch and sniff sticker, so if you're a scratch and sniff sticker and I scratched your shoulder, what would I smell? What would be the aroma?
Oh, strawberries.
Strawberries, okay. Love strawberries.
I love strawberries.
With ice cream?
No, just probably with like Grand Marnier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, well, Adam, thank you so much for being a great guest on Return to Life podcast. So many great insights on brokerages, on real estate, and on life. So thank you for being here as a guest.
That's good. Thanks.
You're welcome.